Do you want to look like your favorite anime character? Maybe your favorite bodybuilder? Or even just get into shape? Getting started can be so confusing. I get it, but it doesn't have to be. Getting huge, becoming aesthetic, and even just getting a little healthier is actually much simpler than you might think. I'm going to cover all the bases as well as give you a ton of simple tweaks that will help explode your progress. But first, how do our bodies actually build muscle? Building muscle isn't as complicated as it might seem. Let me put it this way. Your body is, well, stupid. From training to recovery, building muscle is literally just a prank that you pull on your body every single day. Your body is perfectly fine being weak. It couldn't care less. Such an effortless, relaxing, peaceful life. Wake up! You're dying! You're being torn apart limb from limb! The pain! That was dramatic, but that's what you're telling your body every time you push yourself in your workouts. Think of it like this. Your muscles are blind, and they only have two sources to rely on during your workouts: the intense burning sensation throughout them and your mind. Rather, whatever your mind tells them. And you might be thinking, oh, well, my mind's peaceful. It's nothing but sunshine and calm breezes. And wrong! Lightweight! Gonna carry the boat! Lock in! Buddy! You see, bodybuilding is literally just convincing your body that it's in the literal worst circumstances imaginable. And it needs to adapt, or it's going to, well, die. And since your body's too stupid to know the difference between a threat to its own life and lateral raising more than 10 pounds, it gets stronger. And why wouldn't it? I mean, it's not like you're giving it an option. Your body doesn't just want to live, but live in luxury. It wants to feel comfortable in each and every given moment. And so assuming you're giving your body enough resources, protein, it strengthens itself so that curling 20 pounds won't feel so life-threatening next time. But then you curl the 25s. Help! Please! Why is this happening? And that's how muscle's built. But if you want your physique to look even better, it goes a little deeper than just building muscle. Certain factors like your body type, for example, can play a huge role in your fitness journey. I've been working out for more than 6 years, so if you're unsure of what body type you are, or don't even know what a body type even is, I've been there. So let me make it simple for you. So to start, what is a body type anyway? Basically, there are 3 body types that someone can be born with: ectomorph, endomorph, and mesomorph. These are all just fancy words for how fast or slow your metabolism is. And metabolism is a fancy word for saying how many calories your body uses in a day to live. So this begs the question, what body type are you? If you struggle to gain weight, don't have much of an appetite, and your nickname growing up was Twig, you're probably an ectomorph. If you struggle to lose weight, are always hungry, and find yourself gaining 10 pounds from a single Skittle, you're probably an endomorph. And lastly, if you have an average appetite, can gain or lose weight whenever you want, and grew up being pretty athletic, you're probably a mesomorph. All this information is great and all, but how does it affect you? Well, your body type will greatly impact every single aspect of your fitness journey. The main reason for this goes back to the first chapter of this video. Metabolism. Metabolism is the key factor that separates the Andrew Eubanks from the Eddie Halls of this world. You see, the reason that ectomorphs struggle so much to gain weight is because of their ridiculously fast metabolisms, and the opposite's the case for endomorphs. Metabolism is so important because it will dictate how easy or difficult it is for you to bulk, cut, or maintain weight. Not only that, but it will massively impact your energy throughout the day depending on how much you ate and what body type you are. Generally, endomorphs will see quicker gains in the gym than any other body type. This is because their slow metabolism and excess fat gives their body more sources to fuel itself with, thus creating more power, quicker recovery, and ultimately, this typically results in becoming a strongman or a mass monster. You're basically the Hulk. Ectomorphs, on the other hand, will have a much harder time eating enough food to sustainably fuel their bodies to their full potential. Because of this, you'll likely see much slower progress in the gym. However, since your body burns calories so quickly, you'll be much leaner. So while you may not be a literal tank on legs, you'll naturally look aesthetic pretty much year round. As for you mesomorphs, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Just focus on eating more food than your body burns in a day to gain weight and less food than your body burns in a day to lose weight. It's not that complicated. No matter your body type, please push yourself. Train to failure. Work hard. So is that it? Are you confined to being lean but small or strong but chubby your whole life? Purely based on a predetermined element of your biology? Are you predestined to be a twig your whole life? Will you always look like Fezzik the Giant, aka the Brute Squad from the hit movie The Princess Bride, released on September 25th, 1987? Well, while you can't completely change body types, there's actually quite a bit you can do to alter your metabolism. Regardless of your body type, your newbie gains will only take you so far. So, if you're looking to keep progress going in the gym long term, or even speed it up significantly, it's important to learn the difference your metabolism can make. And unfortunately, metabolism can be a touchy and often confusing subject, so let me make it simple for you. To put it simply, metabolism is the process of turning the food you eat into energy, muscle, and fat. But not everyone's metabolism is the same. You see, some people's metabolisms are very, very fast. We call these people ectomorphs. Some people have very, very slow metabolisms. We call these people endomorphs. Oh yeah, and there's people somewhere in the middle called mesomorphs. But why is this important? One of the biggest factors that determines your metabolism is called your body type. Remember those weird names I just mentioned? Yeah, those are body types. To summarize, your body type is just a name to describe the speed of your natural metabolism. For example, an ectomorph could eat 1,000 McNuggets and lose 5 pounds an hour later. Meanwhile, endomorphs will seemingly just think about food and find themselves gaining 5 pounds. With that being said, it's pretty easy to get frustrated with your metabolism when it always seems to do the opposite of what you want it to. So then, what can you do? Well, your body type at its core is purely genetic. Or is it? While it's true that you can't completely swap body types, you actually can alter it. Sort of. You see, your metabolism is just an idea of how quickly your body burns through the fuel inside your body. This can be food, fat, and even muscle. But what if you're unhappy with your metabolism? Well, that's where I can help you. If you're trying to lose weight, you can try things like cold showers, intense exercise, and even just getting bigger. You see, cold showers, doing cardio, these things will just speed up your metabolism temporarily. But gaining muscle, fat, and just general size actually causes your body to compensate for that weight gain by making your metabolism faster. Now, I'm not saying go eat 10 double Big Macs with a side of diabetes to lose weight. Instead, consider getting into weightlifting and gradually building muscle. This will help you lose weight by forcing your body to use the fat that you have as a fuel source to build leaner, healthier tissue. Muscle. If you're trying to gain weight, I'd suggest eating fattier foods and increasing protein consumption.
Add some protein.
Who knows? Eating 10 double Big Macs might be the way to go for you. For legal reasons, I do not advise anyone to eat 10 double Big Macs. I'm just saying calories are calories for us ectomorphs. Since fats and proteins are the slowest digesting macros, nutrients in your food, it's likely that by the time you reach for your next meal, your body will still have some food left in it. This way, you'll always have a few extra calories in the tank, meaning you'll have to eat less to pass that weight gain threshold, also known as your BMR. But why would someone want to gain weight? Let me introduce you to the world of bulking. Before we discuss how to bulk, what does bulking even mean? To really boil it down, bulking simply means gaining weight. This is done by eating more food than your body burns on a regular basis. In summary, bulking equals calories in over calories out. So why would someone choose to go on a bulk in the first place? Bulking is used to accelerate the gain of strength, size, and well, weight. There are also a few more minor benefits, such as these. Not only are there a ton of benefits to bulking, but it's also going to be somewhat necessary if you want to continue progressing in the gym over a long period of time. This all leads to the next big question. How do I bulk? As mentioned before, to gain weight or bulk, you need to eat more calories than your body burns on a regular basis.
I'ma eat it.
But how do you know how many calories that is? The first suggestion most people give you is to use a BMR calculator. From here, you can input some simple details about your body to get a rough estimate of your basal metabolic rate, which is how many calories your body burns every day. But this only gives you part of that answer.
Oh no!
You see, when calculating BMR, most people seem to entirely neglect the concept of body types. But to summarize, there are 3 body types: ectomorphs, endomorphs, and mesomorphs. Or in layman's terms, naturally lanky, naturally chubby, and somewhere in between. With that said, it's very important to take this into account when bulking. So what body type are you? If you already know what body type you are, that's great, but if you don't, here's a simple way to find that out. If you're naturally lanky or skinny, don't seem to gain much weight regardless of your awful diet, and don't have much of an appetite, you're likely an ectomorph. If you're naturally a little bit more built than most people, really athletic, and can gain or lose weight with relative ease, you're likely a mesomorph. And lastly, if you're naturally a bigger person, stronger than most people around you, and gain weight a little easier than you may like, you're probably an endomorph. This is all to say that you should try to adjust your daily calories according to your body type. For mesomorphs out there, congratulations, you basically won the genetic lottery. In addition to easy control over your weight and natural athleticism, you're also the baseline for BMR calculators, meaning your results are pretty much spot on to your caloric needs. How much food you need to eat. Take the number that the BMR calculator gave you. Depending on how quickly you're hoping to gain weight, add somewhere between 200 to 400 calories. For mesomorphs, this should be perfect, as I'm sure you don't want to gain more fat than necessary in this process. For endomorphs, you may want to stick to that number you got, or only add 1 to 200 calories. Your body has a tendency of gaining fat quicker than most, so you probably won't want to eat too much more than this. And finally, for ectomorphs such as myself, since you burn calories at a ridiculous rate, you're going to have a hard time gaining weight. Depending on how fast your metabolism is, most of you guys already have a pretty good idea, you might want to add anywhere between 1,000 to 2,000 calories. Regardless of your body type, you can play around with these numbers to increase or decrease the speed of your weight gain. And throughout this process, it's important to keep in mind that weight fluctuates, like more than you'd think. So, looking to make quicker progress in the gym, get stronger, move up a weight class, finally fill out that t-shirt, why not bulk?
As great as bulking is, every good bulk ends with showing off the progress you've made. We call this process
Cutting. Let me explain. Cutting goes by many names. Slimming down, calorie deficit, getting shredded. But there's a huge problem with cutting. People overcomplicate it. It gets really confusing with all these different diet options promising you the results you've been dreaming of. Getting that shredded physique like all your favorite influencers. Or maybe just looking better for you or your partner. Well, I'm here to tell you it's not that complicated. I know. Somebody with a fast metabolism saying it's easy to lose weight. Listen, I never said it was easy for everyone. It just isn't as complicated as people make it out to be. Do you want to lose weight?
yes!
Eat less food. That's it. Okay, calm down. Calm down. I said calm down! I know it's not that easy for everyone. There are a ton of factors that can make losing weight very difficult, such as health conditions, eating disorders, and so many more. However, there's no way around it. If you want to lose weight, you need to feed your body less calories than it burns every day. That being said, there are countless ways to increase how many calories you burn every day, and therefore how many Krispy Kreme donuts and Golden McNuggets you can eat while losing weight. Sorry, I'm probably making you hungry. If you want to know how to increase your metabolism so that you can burn more calories while literally just sitting down, and I'm being serious, check out this video where I go into detail about it. But back to those washboard abs. Let me break it down for you. Mark. All it takes is 3 simple steps. 1. Calorie intake. This is a fancy term that means number of calories. How many calories does your body burn, and how many can you eat before you maintain or gain weight? Remember, we're trying to lose weight here. To find this, look up BMR calculator, click the first result, enter a few details about your body, and there you go. As long as you eat a couple hundred calories below this number every day, you should be good as gold. 2. Tracking calories. Tracking your calories can be a pain. I won't deny that, but there's an app I like called Chronometer that makes it so much easier. They've got a bunch of cool features like barcode scanning, custom meals, and so many more. And finally, number 3. Time. This one sucks. Like seriously. Unfortunately, there's no way around it. Consistency is the key to accomplishing anything long term, especially when it comes to the gym. But there's still one big problem. BMR calculators aren't perfectly accurate. For some people, they're pretty much spot on. For others, it can be off by a couple hundred to even a couple thousand calories. And this is all dependent on something we all share in common called metabolism. Metabolism is what decides in our specific bodies how quickly we burn food. This affects appetite, energy levels, and well, your progress as a whole.
But it can also affect one of the biggest reasons we decided to even work out in the first place: getting stronger.
I increased my bench press by 20 pounds in just 2 weeks. And no, this wasn't newbie gains. I've been working out for 6 years. I'm going to show you how you can do it too, as well as a few cheat codes I picked up along the way to make even more gains than I did. No secret diet, no scam course, and no time wasted. So, you feel weak. Maybe progress has been slow. Maybe you're even stuck in a plateau and you're not sure how to get out of it. Let me make it simple for you. Getting strong isn't all that complicated. If you want to get better at something, you prioritize it, right? It's the same thing for muscle growth. If you're trying to get stronger on a specific exercise, put that exercise first. If you want to get stronger at bicep curls, don't start off with pull-ups just so you can train 2 muscles at once and finish off with curls at the end of your workout. If you want a stronger curl, start your workout with a bicep curl, but warm up first. If your goal is a stronger bench, I suggest warming up with something light that provides a nice stretch like cables, then work your way up to just under your max bench press. Do that for a set or two, then finish off your chest and triceps with some isolation movements like the pec deck and tricep pushdowns. These isolation movements are great for really finishing those muscles before letting them rest for a day or two, and doing it all over again. But if you want to see any progress in the gym, you'll need to actually push yourself. So don't cut your set short when you've still got more than 5 reps in the tank. You see, muscle growth occurs when you give your body a task that it's not yet comfortable with. This discomfort makes your body realize that it's not strong enough to complete the task. And since your body doesn't like discomfort, you leave it with only one option. Adapt. Thus creating muscle growth. Even then, most of your work in the gym is worthless. Without the proper nutrition, that is. Now, I'm not talking about a meticulous breakdown of macronutrients like carbohydrates, saturated fat content, and complex proteins.
Stop it.
I'm talking about good old-fashioned protein. The building blocks of muscle growth. Think about it. If you damage your muscles by pushing yourself in your workouts, that's great. But if you're not giving your body what it needs to repair that damage, well, it was pretty much all for nothing. So try shooting for 1 gram of protein per pound you weigh. I know it's a lot, but it's worth it if you're trying to get huge or speed up your progress significantly. But if you want to take things that little bit farther, which can skyrocket your progress, try these tips to pull those extra gains in there. For larger muscle groups like chest, back, biceps, and quads, make sure you're hitting these muscles at least twice a week, ideally 3 times. And for smaller muscle groups like forearms, shoulders, and calves, you can actually work your way up to 6 times a week. These smaller muscles can handle a lot of damage. If your regular slow and controlled reps aren't cutting it, try incorporating pause reps. Pause reps are when you pause your exercise at the hardest point for about a second or two, then exploding to the top of the rep. This removes all momentum, ensuring that the only force lifting that weight is your muscle, thus creating more stimulus and therefore growth. Now, I know I said not to leave too many reps left in the tank, but if your goal is to gain more strength than size, don't go to failure. Listen, I love going to failure just about every set. I'm all for it, but hitting failure every set of every workout is extremely taxing on your body, which is why you need the protein. And if you're taking too long to recover, you'll be able to hit your desired muscle groups far less. And well, more workouts equals more strength. Don't get me wrong, you'll definitely build size this way too, but your body will focus more on increasing muscular strength and efficiency than all around size with this training method.
But for ectomorphs like myself, that's usually our main goal.
Getting big. Let me explain. If you want to get big, there's one strategy that's miles ahead of the rest. Eat more food. I know. You're sick of hearing it. So am I. For us ectomorphs, eating more food already feels next to impossible. I mean, our metabolisms require more fuel than a Boeing 747. But at the end of the day, if you want to gain weight, you just gotta eat, man. There's not much else you can do. That being said, there's a few things you can do to help you eat more with that tiny appetite of yours. For example, setting a timer of, let's say, 5 to 10 minutes can help you focus on eating your meal before your body has time to release a hormone called leptin, which basically tells your stomach, hey, that's enough num-nums. To eat your meals even faster, try eating without watching anything. Listen. I know that ADHD Ooga Booga Subway Surfer's attention span of yours will hate it, but it works. Lastly, you can try drinking more carbonated drinks. The bubbles in seltzer water and pop release a different hormone called ghrelin, which basically tells your stomach, feed me more. But how much food should you eat? Calculate your BMR, then play around to find out how much you personally need. When it comes to getting bigger, food is your quickest option, but muscles aren't too bad either. So if you want to build muscle, protein is your friend. So give it a high five. But how much protein do you need? 1 gram of protein per pound you weigh is great, but it's not completely necessary. Just try your best to eat at least 100 grams a day. As important as protein is, it doesn't have much purpose beyond building muscle. And if you want the protein to build muscle, you need to train. You'll want to prioritize hypertrophy over strength training. Hypertrophy training simply means you hit failure each set between 6 and 30 reps, preferably 6 to 12. Whereas with strength training, you hit failure anywhere between 2 and 5 reps, preferably 3 or 4. Both training styles will make you bigger, but hypertrophy training will build more size, and strength training will build more, well, strength.
This is all pretty simple. Building muscle, getting stronger, but how do we look like those famous influencers and anime characters we see online? That, my friend, is called aesthetics.
So you want to look aesthetic? Well, you've come to the right place. Massive shoulders, a humongous back, and gargantuan calves? You can forget about that last one. Never happening, buddy. The term once used to describe soft vibes and fairy lights on Pinterest is now one of the biggest terms in the entire fitness community. So then, what does it mean to look aesthetic? The main factor that determines an aesthetic physique is what's called a V-taper. I'm sure you've probably heard this term thrown around quite a bit. To put it simply, a V-taper just means that your upper body roughly follows the shape of the letter V, which draws attention to some of the most prominent muscles on your body, these muscles being your chest, back, shoulders, and arms, creating a visual feeling of power, balance, and confidence. However, attaining this shape is much easier for some than others, and that just comes down to genetics. For example, person A may have a much easier time building muscle than person B. However, person A was born with narrow collarbones, and person B was born with very wide collarbones. Simply through this one genetic difference, many would agree that person B has a much more aesthetic physique, simply because they look more like the letter V. Sounds stupid, right? So then, is that it? You can't look aesthetic if you have narrow collarbones? Well, that's sort of up to you. Your bone structure will definitely determine the general shape of your physique, but if you're willing to put in the work, there's actually quite a bit you can do to help balance out your physique visually. Sticking with the narrow collarbone example, you could prioritize your shoulders in your workouts. Through building your delts, you'll build a much wider top to your body, thus making you look more like a V and less like a U. This simple change can completely transform the look of your physique. Don't get me wrong, your shoulders make a huge difference to your V-taper, but that doesn't mean you should neglect your other muscles. If all you care about is building width, then by all means, spam lateral raises to your heart's content. But if you want to build an aesthetic physique, you'll need balance. I suggest highly prioritizing your back muscles, specifically your lats, which actually have a natural V-taper without even working them at all, simply by the shape of the muscle. But building your lats will add a ton more width to your upper body. However, there's one more section of your upper body that can honestly make or break your V-taper, and that's your waist. Now, you may have been thinking that it's having a nice chiseled six-pack. And don't get me wrong, visible abs definitely help with looking aesthetic. But you see, as long as you have a V-taper, Your body will look relatively aesthetic, even on a bulk. But if you have a wide waist, regardless of how lean you are, this can destroy the illusion of a V-taper. And unfortunately, this is also widely genetic. Try to focus on the muscles that are going to help balance out the width of your upper body, such as your shoulders and your lats. By doing this, you can help counteract your wide waist. However, something that I've personally seen great results with is stomach vacuums. Now, I'll likely make a video on this in the future, but in essence, a stomach vacuum is the action of sucking in your stomach as much as possible, holding it for 20 to 30 seconds, and releasing. I'll spare you the details as to why this works, but the results can be game-changing if you stay consistent with it. And while stomach vacuums won't change your bone structure itself, they can help just that little bit more to help build that V-taper.
No matter how much you learn, progress will almost always feel slower than you'd like. So, how do we speed it up?
Have you ever seen this guy in the gym? You know, the guy that just swings the weight up, the guy that drops the weight on the way down, the guy that says, looks like the 50s are taken. Guess I've gotta use the 60s. Even though his PR is like 50 pounds for 2. Maybe you are that guy. It's okay. I'm praying for you. It's alright though. You can train however you'd like. Please don't train like that. Listen, I'm not here to judge, but like, I'm judging you, bro. Believe me, I understand that lifting the heavy weight feels cool. I do. But you're leaving gains on the table. If dry scooping 10,000 milligrams of pre and throwing the weight around like a Wii remote at your little brother is literally the only way you enjoy working out, then by all means, keep going. Other than maybe the 10,000 milligrams part. Maybe cut that down a bit. But for literally anyone else, hear me out. Tempo is important. Like, really important. Whether you're training for strength or for size, tempo is one of the key factors that's either going to make or break your progress in the gym. And here's why. A fast tempo, just swinging the weight around, will still build muscle. Maybe not as much, but it's better than nothing. But this tempo has a few issues. For one, you never really sit in that stretch, meaning the actual stimulus telling your muscle to grow will be pretty small. Not saying the stretch is the most important thing, but it's definitely up there. Second, you never really sit in that stretch. Now I know I just said the stretch isn't the most important thing, but there's another reason the stretch is important besides muscle growth. Strength in the length and position is extremely important for safety. If you're not warmed up, or your tendons simply aren't conditioned to work in that range of motion, you risk serious injury. For lack of better words, your muscles are cooked. Lastly, you're just not really getting much out of it. I mean, think about it. The whole point of working out is to force your muscles to work to their absolute limit so that your brain tells them to get bigger and stronger. But if momentum is the main force moving the weight, who do you think is getting the gains? On the other hand, you've got a slow tempo. Basically, take everything I just said and reverse it. A slow tempo is great for muscle growth, tendon health, and gains all around. But oh my goodness, it's painful. Not to mention boring. In reality, a slow tempo just makes your workouts so slow. By the time you're done just a couple of sets, you're ready to go home. If it works for you, then great, but it's not for everyone. Lastly, we have the coup de grace, the cream of the crop. My bread and my butter. Mixed tempo. All this means is that you're mindfully combining the best parts of both tempos to make the best tempo possible. And here's how to use it. Set yourself up, put maximum effort into the way up, and slowly lower the weight on the way down. Doing this will not only train your explosiveness, which is your ability to use a lot of force very quickly. It doesn't mean your ability to attach explosives to yourself. Why would anyone want to practice that anyway? Don't be a hero. But it will also increase the amount of time you spend in that stretched position while resisting force, leading to more muscle growth, more strength gains, and just a 5-star experience overall. Though you do need to drop the weight when using this tempo for the first few workouts. Give your tendons time to adapt to the new stress you're putting on them in the stretched portion of your exercises. Do you remember how I said not training your tendons can be dangerous? It's true. And because of this, a lot of people eliminate certain exercises from their workouts due to the higher risk of the movement. Although, these exercises can also yield some of the greatest results out of any exercise, not to mention help heal joint pain. High risk, high reward. But there is a solution. So if you want to learn how to increase your gains, speed up progress, and bulletproof your body in the long run, we need to learn what these exercises are, as well as how to implement them without destroying ourselves in the process. So then, how do we do it? Don't round your back, don't stretch too deep, and don't squat over your toes. You'll ruin your body. That's not true. Well, sort of. Let me explain. Taking precautions to reduce the chance of injury is a good thing. However, reducing injury and avoiding the pain are not the same thing. Going to depth, reaching peak stretch, and rounding your back can be a good thing. The important thing is to approach these sensitive movements carefully and gradually, slowly increasing the challenge little by little over time. What do we call this type of training? Progressive overload. That's right, this type of training isn't just applicable to muscles. Not only does working on these movements increase resiliency and reduce the chance of injury, but it actually has the potential to greatly increase muscle growth. More and more studies have recently been conducted proving the effectiveness of prioritizing the stretch. Want bigger biceps? Lower the weight and start going to the bottom on those preacher curls you're so afraid of. Want bigger shoulders, pecs, and triceps? Lower the weight, if you use any. Or use some bands and go to the bottom on those dips. Just watch a few YouTube tutorials from a reliable source first to make sure you've got your form right. Form is everything. A few years back, I pulled my ACL, a really important ligament in your knee. This left me with some difficulty walking, running, squatting, and near constant pain when moving. What helped me? Squatting knees over toes as far as I could with nothing but my body weight, also known as sissy squats. Not only does this increase the stretch and therefore the stimulus and size of your quads, but it also adds a strong focus on the tendons in your knees, building strength, stability, and all-around resilience in the process, all while increasing flexibility. Don't let these movements scare you. They can be a good thing if you treat them with care.
So there you have it. A pretty comprehensive yet simple guide to the gym. If you learned anything helpful, or simply enjoyed my editing style, I'd really appreciate you giving the video a like, or just clicking that little share button and copying the link. These things seem small, but I can't describe just how much they can help my content get recommended by YouTube. But what are you waiting for? Get out there and build the body of your dreams.